So now I'm going to show you how to make a pattern in Illustrator. So the very first thing you do, of course, is to make the objects that you want to repeat to make the pattern. Okay. So the second thing I'm going to do is select the whole thing. So I'm clicking on the selection tool and I'm drawing what's called a marquee selection. So I just draw this imaginary rectangle across it and it selects everything that I've gone across. So then the next step is go to Object and go to Pattern towards the bottom and then go to Make. Okay, so then you get this sign. The new pattern has been added to the swatches panel. Okay, right now I'm in the pattern editing mode, so I'm just gonna click OK, and I'm going to click Done to get out of the editing mode. I'm going to go back to that in a little bit. So now you can see that this pattern is now added to my swatches panel. So that means that I can draw something and now the fill is one of those options. So the pattern that I just made is now a fill. So that's a fill, that's a fill. And I want to show you one more thing that is a little bit of a secret. If you click on the scale tool right here, and you hold down a key on the keyboard that I call it a tilde. It is, on my keyboard, it's to the left of the number 1. So at the top where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's to the left of the 1, and it's underneath the escape, and then it has a little squiggly thing on the top and kind of an accent mark on the bottom. So I hold that key down, and I'm on the scale tool, and when I scale it bigger or smaller, I'm actually scaling the pattern. So that's a little trick that might not be so obvious. There is another way of doing it as well if you don't like that way. If you double click on that scale tool, you can scale just the pattern only. So you have these options: scale corners, scale strokes and effects, transform objects. This is what you were doing before. Okay, I'm going to click that off. Transform patterns. So I can say I want to transform these patterns at a uniform scale, 150%, and then click OK. So you can do it numerically as well through that. Okay, so the pattern editing mode is fun, but it's a little bit confusing. When you double click on the pattern in the swatch panel, you get this pattern editing mode. So you have this part at the top: save a copy, done, cancel. This is something that's best just to fool around with and not get too particular about it first. You can size the tile to the art. The tile is the part that you're editing. It's a little hard to squeeze into this window. The tile is the size of the part that repeats. You can move the tile with the art. So those are different options in that panel. But when you click on this button right here, which is subtle, I think it's hard to see, then you get different things that you can play with. You can move the size of the tile. You can change this tile type: grid, brick by row, brick by column, hex by column, and hex by row. So those are different ways of putting the tile, and different shapes for the tile that manipulates how the computer puts your pattern together. So if you've changed it to a way that you like, then you can click Save. You can also change individual pattern elements within this view. Okay, so there's all sorts of things to fool around with. Again, like this is a trick right there. There's a lot of things that change when you press that down, and then there's some options there as well. Okay, when you have something you like, you can click Done. If you have something you don't like, click Cancel. But I'm going to click Done, and now the swatch is it's different. I've changed the pattern. So that is how you create a pattern, fill a shape with a pattern, scale it, and also that pattern editing mode